Hi, it's Dr. Sasha Shilllcutt. So glad you're here. I'm going to be giving you some tips on fierce boundaries at work. Did you know that the McKinsey study, which is a workforce study in the United States that comes out every year and looks at specifically women in the workplace and how we're impacted, who's leaving the workplace, who's staying, what are the biggest struggles? In 2022, in their September article said the number one problem that we're all lacking right now, why we have so many people leaving the workforce in the United States, is we lack boundaries. So as you know, I've written a book on boundaries, and one of those things that I have learned is that if I don't have fierce boundaries at work, I have zero. I either have none or I have fierce, but there can be no in between. And so one way that I have learned to really set boundaries at work is to wrap up my day. And that means emails, calls, whatever I need to do, I do at work before I leave. And I tell myself, you are not going to respond to a text, check an email the minute you leave the hospital. And the only caveat to that is if I'm on call and I have to take care of patients, right? So there's really no emergency that needs me at night or on the weekends that is not direct patient care. There should be no reason that things can't wait until Monday or wait until the next day. That boundary lies with me because I can guarantee you I get texts, I get emails. So instead of us thinking that we have to set the boundary on others who don't respect our boundaries, why is this person texting me at 10 o'clock at night from work? Why is my boss emailing me on the weekend? We are the boundary holder. We don't have to respond. You don't have to respond to work texts at night. You really don't. You don't have to respond to work emails on the weekend. You don't. You can say, hey, I got your text. We'll respond when I'm back in office, or just ignore it. There are very few emergencies that you can solve in my realm of hospital work that isn't requiring me to be at the hospital. So if I'm not at the hospital, someone else's emergency is not an emergency on my part if it's to do with, papers, paperwork, people, projects, all right? Those things can wait a few hours until you are back at work. And that boundary has to lie within us. Now, these are hard boundaries to set, especially if you're a person that is used to responding to every text, responding to every email. You've got to start slow and educate the people that you work with that, hey, I only answer work texts when I'm at work. I only answer work emails when I'm at work. Now, that may look different for you. Sometimes I go in early, an hour early, and I knock out emails before I go to the OR. Sometimes I stay late to respond to texts and emails at the end of my day. But for me, it works. I just don't I don't answer or respond to emails and texts when I leave the hospital. And that has been a big change because I used to be the person that responded to texts and emails anywhere, anytime. It didn't serve me. So I really encourage you to think about what boundaries do you need? Boundaries are very personal. What boundaries do you need in your life to separate work from your personal life? If you've liked this video, please give me a comment. Please give me a share. Make sure you go to becomebraveenough.com and follow me.